At Farmers Insurance, we know the sound of a perfect hot air balloon landing. And a less than perfect one. Seen it, covered it. Click for more.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
The following is a Podcast One Minnesota production.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
If it's made in Minnesota, who's making it and how?
Yeah, you got that right.
It's the Makers of Minnesota, focusing on the products and services uniquely made in Minnesota, and conversations with the makers, entrepreneurs, and innovators in Minnesota about how they conceived of their products and how they brought them to market. With Stephanie Hansen, it's the Makers of Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Hansen, and you're listening to the Makers of Minnesota podcast. We are here with Grow North Minnesota, and we are here with the managing director, Lauren Pradhan. And Lauren, you and I had coffee, I guess a couple months ago, because I kept hearing about Grow North, and I had no idea what this was. And then I realized it is a business aggregate, and it is support for businesses and entrepreneurs and makers of Minnesota.
Yeah, and it was an amazing coffee, so thanks for having it with me.
Yes, it was super fun because I was like, we need to have you on the podcast because people need to know about what this is and what these resources are. So you are part of the Carlson School of Management at the university.
So Grow North is an initiative out of the Home Center for Entrepreneurship at the Carlson School. We've been around to be 2 years. In January, we launched in 2017. And so what we try to do is act as this resource, aggregator, connector, and a navigator for this incredible community that we have that's growing within food and agriculture. So many of the makers that you profile on your podcast are companies that I work with and support. And it could be anyone from someone who's starting out and will come to our website and say, hey, I have an idea. How do I get started? And we can point them to resources, or someone who is raising money. How do they think about that? To someone who's really big and looking to hire folks. And so we're kind of that, we want to act as that place to get started, and then we can point them in a million directions because of all the different organizations and resources that we have here.
So it's everything from I need funding to create a prototype, to where would I create a prototype, to tell me about packaging, to I make this amazing salsa, but I don't have access to ingredients that would work. I mean, you really have so many different facets. If you're listening to this podcast and you're an entrepreneur and you're thinking, I would love to have this product at the state fair next year or something like that, how do they access you? Is the best thing for them to go to the website or to go to some of your seminars?
Well, so Grow North has a suite of programming that we offer. We have our website, so go there anytime, grownorthmn.com. And you can see the different resources. You can always send us an email. We also offer education, mentorship, and networking programming. So we have events coming up in September, and then we do large-scale events. So I'm thrilled to say we're launching a week-long event in October called Food Ag Ideas Week, which will be 5 days of events and speakers and networking opportunities, and really a way to engage in this growing community, not just as an entrepreneur, as someone who is really interested and loves the space, as someone who can mentor or support entrepreneurs or invest in them, because we can't offer all the resources that you just talked about, packaging to food safety but what's amazing about this place is we have experts in all those areas. And so what I like to think about is how do we get all those folks together, and how do we capitalize on that incredible wealth of people and insight and information? And so that's where the programming that we do, as well as this week, is a way to do that, is to just sort of crash communities together and grow on that.
Because in the day, and I think I heard a number that there were 10,000 food companies in Minnesota. Have you ever heard that number?
I haven't, but it sounds great.
It sounds gigantic. I was like, 10,000? Are you kidding me? And we obviously have this heritage of being grain producers and obviously have a rich history of farming and agriculture. What do you think it is that's unique about our area, our climate, our time, that we are able to coalesce around the idea of ag right now?
Well, this is an incredible time in the industry. There is tremendous change happening. There is interest in food and agriculture like we've never seen before. And so what I think about is that there's a lot of activity happening across the country, but Minnesota, it's in our DNA. We've been doing this for 150 years on the banks of the Mississippi, and we're going to be doing it for another 150. And I think we're a unique place in that this is my fun fact that I tell everybody is that we have the largest co-op network in the country. And we also are number one in turkey production. Like you have these worlds of just, we don't think about them in the same breath, or we're top 10 in organic farmers. We do all these different, we have all these different things happening right now. We have over 140 craft breweries and counting, and a really strong craft brewers guild. So we have all these different pockets of opportunity across the value chain in both food and ag, and people who care deeply about it. And so that's what I think is unique about this place versus anywhere else in the country, is the breadth that we have, the experts across that breadth, and just the amount of activity that we have. And that to me is the opportunity.
And it's happening on so many levels. Like it's literally happening at, a guy buying a family farm with his dad and starting to, I think, a Pastures of Plenty, literally manufacturing and really working hard on trying to find grass-fed beef alternatives. And then you have Techstars, which, they're working on their farm to fork technology initiatives and, logistics and some of the things that you don't think about. And it's all coming together in this very unique way. And the one thing that is at the spoke or the center of the spokes is always you. So what is it about you that, your name comes up and I travel all these circles, and I'm not looking at this so much from a business perspective as much as like championing the products that are able to come out of this. But you are always at the heart of all these conversations. What is it? This must be the best job in the world.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, you get to connect people and help them find resources to grow their businesses. Wow, that's fun.
Well, that's just lovely to say, so thank you. But I think what inspires me is there are these entrepreneurs, and they are what guide me and inspire me. They are putting everything into their businesses.
Yep.
And they are solving problems in different ways, whether it's about a better for you product that tastes really great, or they're making a small farm and they're taking over converted land, or making something easier for farmers so that they can stay in business. Who wouldn't want to help them be successful?
Do you ever feel like you're just in over your head? Like
every day.
Really? I would assume
every day, like every other. I think
it's called the imposter syndrome. Do you know about that?
I do, and I think I definitely have a fake it till you make it mentality.
Me too.
Every day. But I think that's the fun of it, and that's part of Grow North. I treat like a startup. It's an idea that's been kicked around in the community for a while, and was built by the idea was really cultivated by a lot of different folks. But to be able to take this idea and build programming and launch events and work with entrepreneurs, like it's really exciting and thrilling and inspiring from this community. And it's what the community deserves. Like I always say that I serve the entrepreneur. I'm inspired by what they need, and I want to inspire others to get involved and get engaged. And so it's what fuels me to keep going and take on these challenges and build bigger things and get more folks involved.
At Farmers Insurance, we know every windshield collision has a unique sound. Beetle. Bird poop. Drone. Seen it, covered it. Click for more.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
So can you give me, just for the listener, because I think the practical stories are really interesting, like can you think of a story of something that's happened where someone called you and you did something that helped their business? You can probably think of a million, but do you have like one that stands out in your mind? Like, I don't know.
Sure. Well, I had a really fun call this morning.
Yeah, let's hear about it.
With Ariana, who was the semifinalist,
chef.
the junior chef on MasterChef Junior, one of the most impressive 14-year-olds. She turns 14 tomorrow that
Beyond
I've talked to.
Impressive.
Amazing.
I was just like, who is this girl and where did you come from? And can I meet your parents? Because they must be really awesome.
And I have a 5-year-old, and it was the one meeting that I told my son I had, and he has been talking about it all week. So I spoke with her today because she lives in Excelsior.
Yeah.
and she wants to launch a line of products, and she's thinking about speaking and doing other things. And so she's looking for a mentor. So how can we find a mentor for this person to help her be the incredible person that she's going to be and become, and she already is. So I am going to connect her with someone that will help her think through some of the decisions that are in front of her.
Yeah.
And that's really exciting to help an entrepreneur who's really young be able to connect with the marketing expertise that we have in this town and a lot of other folks to help her be successful. I think of Hoya Sambusa is an amazing company that is two entrepreneurs together who are creating sambusa, which are Somali snacks.
I love this product. It's
Yes.
sambusas, and then they have a salsa too that is just
And they're
out of
just
this
amazing.
world.
And it's a social enterprise. They employ Somali women. And to see them, I spoke with them a year ago. We gave them some platforms to sample their products. So to see them go from a couple stores to a lot more and be able to be a touchstone for them. Because I think a lot of the time, yes, it's the advice and the connection, but it's also just knowing that you have a community.
Right. And imagine being like, I was listening to her story. I mean, she's a Somali woman. She didn't have the network that I've had here my whole life of people that I've grown up with and known. And you underestimate the value of that and being able to call someone and say, hey, do you know anybody? And at the same time, her story is so remarkable. And you just know, like, A, the food tastes great. But B, like, if you could get that story in front of people, who wouldn't buy those to heat up at home and have? They were delicious. They were a freezer product. They were super easy to prepare.
And then to your point of, that's what inspires me. So you meet these folks and you hear their stories, you try their products, and you're just thinking about who could I connect you with, or what opportunity could we find for you to give you that launch pad. And to your point, not everyone has the same network and not everyone has the same community. So with a place like Minnesota that has such expertise across food and ag, we could really become a network and a community for all of these entrepreneurs and really democratize the playing field for a lot of people and help them be successful.
Absolutely. Have you ever had a situation where you haven't been able to help someone? Like, does our regionalness prevent us from maybe growing on the West Coast or the East Coast? Or have you ever had a situation where you've just been like, oh, I want to help you, but I can't?
Well, those happen all the time because I'm not going to promise that I can do all these things.
Yep.
And I think that there are a lot of times where I want to be more helpful and I can't just there isn't enough time in the day to help everyone that I want to be helpful with. But I do think that the challenge that I would give to anyone is that, you should dream as big as you can. And so you can go coastal, you can go global, you can do those other things. But it is the work involved and the connections and the capital, the money that you need to do all that stuff. And Grow North or any one organization can't do all of that. And
How do you learn about what you need to learn about? Like, do you have podcasts that you listen to? Do you read books? Do you subscribe to magazines? Are you scouring newspapers? Like, how are you?
Yes, and more yes.
Yeah, because I imagine it's a challenge to stay, like, this industry is really growing and moving fast.
So there's some great newsletters, books, podcasts. We have all of them on the Grow North MN website. We have a resource page. We have both the Resource Navigator with a whole bunch of amazing companies that can be support for entrepreneurs, as well as a library where you can see what I'm reading. We also send out in our newsletter every 2 weeks a top 5 things you should know and something to listen to. We put your podcast on all the time.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But it is sort of being a student of this industry and asking questions, not just of experts, but also of entrepreneurs. What are you getting hung up on? What's keeping you up at night? And then finding that answer through the internet or through talking to other folks, or then seeing a connection that could be helpful. Because when I make a connection for an entrepreneur, that makes me smarter too. So you're constantly a student in this space. And it's changing so quickly. So the things that were exciting or relevant even a couple months ago might be completely different now.
Yeah, it is moving really quick. Just like I think about the world of alternative proteins and just how fast I guess I'm going to call it, and this is not a good word to use, but like the Frankenfoods of we're recreating food products that don't exist today from other types of food products that we're combining with other things.
Well, you hit on a whole bunch of really exciting trends of alternative proteins or plant-based proteins, or how are we going to feed the world in 2050? How are we going to do things in a sustainable way? And what I think is really fun is we have a ton of people in Minnesota working on that.
Yeah.
And we have leaders like Tyler at Purist that works in plant-based proteins. The Canadian Consulate is doing a partnership with the University of Minnesota to create a plant protein center. There's investments happening through Hormel and a whole spectrum of different types of meat products. So it's a big, hairy challenge with a lot of complexity. And you've got entrepreneurs and really big companies trying to work on it.
And trying to connect.
Mm-hmm.
Someone called me that's a local investor, and he said, you know who these people are, and I want to know who you know, because I want to find that next product that I'm going to be able to help them get on, every Target shelf. And
at its core, that's what Grow North wants to do. So your friend calling you is what I want to happen all the time. I want this whole place to be this interconnected, supportive ecosystem. And I tell folks who run an accelerator program or these sort of more select programs, like, what if we made this place an accelerator? What if we could tap into all this connectivity and this expertise so that we can help these companies be successful? And so that's what we want to happen. So all those folks who are listening and have dollars, think about what's on shelves or at your local farmer's market or technology on the farm that you find interesting, and go reach out and talk to those folks and get involved in some way in this community, because there are exciting ideas happening here.
Let's talk about the October event specifically. You're going to have 5 days of speakers. There's lunches. It's a $99 ticket right now that's on sale. But also you have different events that are as little as $10 to go see different speakers. I'm sure that perhaps will increase over time because the early birds are not.
Well, we're really excited about this. So Food Ag Ideas Week, like you said, it's 5 days. We've got 6 partners. We're going to have 20 events. We've got panels, discussions. You can take a tour of food manufacturing in the Twin Cities and see where people are making food. And it really was important to myself and all the partners that we make this as easy to participate in as possible. So yes, right now we have this $99 pass. You even get a free tote bag if you sign up now. And that makes it easy. You can come to all the Grow North events. We've got over 12 that we're doing. And so if you want to be with us for 2.5 days at the beginning of the week, sign up for that right now.
Yep.
But if you can't take vacation or there's certain topics you want to go to, August 15th is when our tickets go on sale. Individual tickets between $10 and $15. And that's really from the support of our incredible partners and support partners that are helping us put this on, because we didn't want price to be a barrier for folks.
Yeah.
And we also didn't want time to be a barrier. So come to what you can, meet different folks, and really see this as a gateway to our community. It's not an event you go to and then you go back to your office and you'll never think about this again. Come to an event on plant-based proteins or the future of retail.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Or growing small brands, and meet someone there, find an organization that you can become a part of, become a mentor, and think of this as Grow North's invitation to this incredible ecosystem.
All right. Well, Lauren, that was like a great commercial for that. I can't wait to come. It's going to be in October, so get your tickets. You can find them at Grow North MN. My handwriting is so small.
You can go to grownorthmn.com or you can go to foodagideas.com, whatever is easier.
All right. And I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
At Farmers Insurance, we know every windshield collision has a unique sound. Beetle. Bird poop. Drone. Seen it, covered it. Click for more.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
I'm Rita Foley with an AP News Minute. An F-16 pilot having hydraulic problems with his aircraft managed to parachute to safety as the plane smashed into a warehouse east of Los Angeles. Fire Captain Fernando Herrera.
That pilot landed in the March Air Force Base area, in the base itself.
Amazingly, there were no serious injuries after the plane hit the building. Alabama executed a man last night for his role in killing 4 people after an argument over a pickup truck. Tennessee executed a man who killed his wife. Reporters couldn't see the execution, but AP correspondent Travis Lawler says
we could hear sounds, including a singing that Mr. Johnson's attorney says was him singing a hymn.
Answering a reporter's question, President Trump said he hopes the U.S. is not on a path to war with Iran. Mr. Trump has dismissed suggestions that any of his advisors are trying to push him into a conflict. I'm Rita Foley.